Hare Krishna, I feel very grateful to be with you. First, before starting, I will pray to Srila Prabhupada and my spiritual
Recording
master.
in progress.
Omajnana Timrandasya Chinanjana Shlakya Sakshon Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachaya Desatarni. So when I did the Bhaktivedanta course for the VIHE, then our teachers were Bhujan Prabhu and Mother Narayani, and I'm very grateful to them that for their association and their guidance. Bhujan Prabhu at the end of the Bhaktivedanta course asked me to facilitate this course in the future, and on his strength I'm trying to do that. But I'm a facilitator, I'm not a teacher. Facilitator means I help you going on with the discussions, that I feel not that I have to teach something, because who am I to teach? What are my realizations? But everyone who is here knows something that I don't know. So everyone has some unique thing that I don't know. So we have all insights in the scriptures, and maybe different, but that may help us to go deeper into it. Sometimes you will see reading me from notes. These are my written notes that I made by hearing a few times recordings of the previous Bhaktivedanta course again and again. And there may also some personal insights, but I may quote Bhujan Prabhu and so on. I cannot share these notes with me. I'm an archaic person. I'm still writing with a pen on a paper, and that so it's written. It's not in the digital form. But I follow the same system Bhujan Prabhu followed. I feel not that I have to invent some new system, just do the same they did. And yes, now we are in the 8th Canto, and we are midway, chapter 15, and we will discuss this chapter 15 today. Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planets. But what went on before? We have heard in the beginning of the canto the churning of the milk ocean, and then at the end Muni Mukti appeared and cheated the demons. And then there was a battle between the demigods and the demons. And King Indra and the demigods, they annihilate all the demons. So the demons are gone. Not really. We will see what happens at the beginning of this chapter today. But then there was a pause in the story, and we hear from Muni Mukti bewildering Lord Shiva, and then we have heard about the universe, that about the future Manus, and there, of course, Bali Maharaj was mentioned also. It will be in the next Manu will be the Indra. And then we heard about the system of universal management. And now we are back to the story between the demigods and the demons. And Bali Maharaj will conquer the heavenly planets. So we will start reading this chapter, and I'll share it on the screen, and we will read it together. The first 10 verses we will read, and then after that, because it's more or less an introduction, and then we will have the comments. So I will read the Sanskrit on the first 2 verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Siracho Vacha Balepada Trayam Bhume Kasma Darir Ayachata Bhutasvara Kripanaval Labdartopi Bandanatam Etat Veditum Ichamo Mahat Kautu Halam Hina Shasnesvarasya Purnasya Bandhanam Chapi Anagasa. Then we have the translation here. Maybe we can read in turns. Can someone read the first translation, which is on the board? Who will start? Okay.
Maharaj Parikshit inquired, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything. Why did he beg 3 pieces of land from Bali Maharaj, like a poor man? And when he got the gift for which he had begged, why did he nonetheless arrest Bali Maharaj? I am very much anxious to know the mystery of these contradictions. Thank you.
So yes, the next chapters will be, this chapter and next chapters will be an answer on that inquiry of Maharaj Parikshit. Now the next verse. Can someone read the translation of the next verse? Sukadev Goswami said.
Yes. Goswami said, O king, when Bali Maharaj lost all his opulence and died in the fight, Shukracharya, a descendant of Bhrigu Muni, brought him back to life. Because of this, the great soul Bali Maharaj became a disciple of Shukracharya and began to serve him with great faith, offering everything he had. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes. So we see here Bali Maharaj, he became a disciple of Sukracharya because Sukracharya brought him to life. And therefore he started to serve him with great faith, everything he had. And now we will hear about the Jahya. Acha Prabhu, please.
Hello, Maharaj. I want to know, I thought that Bali Maharaj was always associated with Sukracharya, like if you look at his dynasty, means Prahlad Maharaj associated with Sukracharya. His father is disciple of Sukracharya. So I always under the impression Sukracharya was their guiding, spiritual master or priest. So that's my question. I thought, and now it appears that Sukracharya, he accepted Sukracharya is guru only after he got his life back.
Yes. But generally Sukracharya, he is a spiritual master of the demons. What do the demons want? They want to enjoy sense gratification. And Sukracharya is giving them sense gratification, but according to the scriptures. And he promises them, if you do that, you will enjoy more and more. You may go to the heavenly planets. So naturally, they are following Sukracharya. But Bali Maharaj, from this became very clear. He became a disciple after he was brought to life. Before, of course, he was already appreciating Sukracharya, because Bali Maharaj did also, all the demons did. So that was accepted, that they were following Sukracharya, but it appears here that Bali Maharaj became more dedicated after he was revived, brought back to life. I think it's natural. If someone brings you back to life, you are grateful. And by that he surrendered to Sukracharya. Of course, it's a surrender with motivation, because Bali Maharaj, he was a disciple. He was dedicated to Lord Vishnu because he was a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So it's materially motivated. That in heart he was still a follower of Lord Vishnu. And because Sukracharya promises this, he teaches karma kanda. By that they go to the heavenly planets. Does that clarify, Prabhu?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, then we can read text 4. So someone can read text 4.
The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu Muni were very pleased with Bali Maharaj, who desired to conquer the kingdom of Indra. Therefore, after purifying him and properly bathing him according to regulative principles, they engaged him in performing the yajna known as Vishwajit.
So we see here a few things, that all these Brahmins descendants were the sons of Bhrigu Muni. So also it seems Sukracharya was also a disciple of Bhrigu Muni. That's interesting. Now, they are performing a yajna known as Vishvajit. What does Vishvajit mean? Vishvajit. Vishvajit means conquering the universe. Vishva, the universe. Ajit, conquering the universe. So the name of the sacrifice says it all. That's what they want to do with the sacrifice. Text 5. Please read.
When ghee, clarified butter, was offered in the fire of sacrifice, there appeared from the fire a celestial chariot covered with gold and silk. There also appeared yellow horses like those of Indra, and a flag marked with a lion.
A flag marked with a lion. Who is that lion? Is it Nrsingadev? That interesting. A celestial chariot. Must have been powerful Brahmins to make appear this celestial chariot, that not the Brahmins of Kali Yuga. They also appeared yellow horses like those of Indra. Indra must have yellow horses and a flag marked with a lion. Good. What happens next? 6th.
A gilded bow, 2 pairs of infallible arrows, and celestial armor also appeared. Bali Maharaja's grandfather Prahlad Maharaja offered Bali Maharaja a garland of flowers that would never fade, and Sukracharya gave him a conch shell.
Okay. Prahlad Maharaj offered them a garland of flowers that would never fade. Seems to be a spiritual garland. And Shukracharya gave him a conch shell. A gilded bow, 2 quivers of infallible arrows. Celestial armors also appeared. Means all the paraphernalia to fight appears. And the blessings of Prahlad Maharaj to garland, and Shukracharya a conch shell. And Bali Maharaj will use that conch shell. We will hear that when he comes at the door of the heavenly planets. Text 7, please.
When Maharaj,
Yes, Maharaj.
when Maharaj Bali had thus performed the special ritualistic ceremony advised by the Brahmanas and had received by their grace the equipment for fighting, he circumambulated the Brahmanas and offered them obeisances. He also saluted Prahlad Maharaj and offered obeisances to him.
Very good. Yeah. Offers his respect to Prahlad Maharaj, and he respects the Brahmins, offer them obeisances. That's where the power comes from. That we will discuss that further. How could Bali Maharaj conquer the heavenly planets? It was not his power. It was the strength of the Brahmins, the strength of Shukracharya. Now, text 8, 9. If someone can read the translation. Yes.
I can read Maharaj.
Yeah.
Then, after getting on the chariot given by Shukracharya, Bali Maharaj decorated with a nice garland, put protective armor on his body, equipped himself with a bow, and took up sword and quiver of arrows. When he sat down on the seat of the chariot, his arms decorated with golden bangles and his ears with sapphire earrings, he shone like a worshipable fire.
Oh, there's a big show. Pujan Prabhu said, when we read that, he said, imagine the demons nowadays and the demons in those days. These demons were pious, because to get their victory, they took shelter of the Brahmins. The demons nowadays, they wouldn't think of it. Just do it on our own strength. But success comes from the sanction of higher powers. He needed help. That's the difference between the demons in those days and the demons nowadays. Pious demons, interesting. That translation 10:11. Please read.
When he assembled with his own soldiers and the demon chiefs, who were equal to him in strength, opulence, and beauty, they appeared as if they would swallow the sky and burn all directions with their vision. After thus gathering the demoniac soldiers, Bali Maharaj departed for the opulent capital of Indra. Indeed, he seemed to make the entire surface of the world tremble.
So he wanted to take over the heavenly planets, very clearly here. But to go there, he got the mercy of the Brahmins. Because these heavenly planets are more opulent, very opulent. That we will hear about these heavenly planets. 12. Here we hear the description. Someone can read 12.
King Indra's city was full of pleasing orchards and gardens, such as the Nandana garden. Because of the weight of the flowers, leaves, and fruit, the branches of the eternally existing trees were bending down. The gardens were visited by pairs of chirping birds and singing bees. The entire atmosphere was celestial.
So we have a commentary on verse 12 by Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is condemning the pleasures of the heavenly planets. He says, "Fie on the material pleasures. It's Gramya Sukha." So all of a sudden, Indra and all the other demigods had to leave this kind of a city. That's so. They were obliged to foster VIHE, detachment. So here, that's the beginning here of the description of Indra's city. And the description will go on for 11 and a half verse. So now we will hear a beautiful description of the heavenly planets. And now we will see if these descriptions makes us detached as Sridhar Swami wants us to be. So you get this beautiful place and then you have to leave. So what is the use of getting such a beautiful place? So now we are going to hear what heaven is like. In text 13, 14, 13 first. Please read.
Beautiful women, protected by the demigods, sported in the gardens, which had lotus ponds full of swans, cranes, chakravakas, and ducks.
And 14.
The city was surrounded by fences full of Ganges water, known as Akash Ganga, and by a high wall, which was the color of fire. Upon this wall were parapets of fighting.
For fighting. So this Akash Ganga, it's also described in the 5th canto. The Ganga in the sky, in the Milky Way. And a part of that is Indrapuri, this Akash Ganga. Pujan Prabhu commented there are places for fighting, parapets for fighting. So there must also be fear in the heavenly planets. The demons could come at any time. Therefore, they have a defense system. Text 15. Someone can read, please.
The doors were made of gold plates, and the gates were of excellent marble. These were linked by various public roads. The entire city had been constructed by Vishwakarma.
So what else did Vishwakarma create besides the heavenly planets? We heard about the Sudharma hall. He created the entire city of Dwarka. He was the sculptor of Lord Jagannath. He made Sutal, he will make Sutal the place for Bali Maharaj. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said Sutal must be more opulent than Indraloka. Who is Vishwakarma? He's a Prajapati, because his daughters married the sun god and so on. Text. Now we will hear about airplanes. Text 16. Please read.
The city was full of courtyards, wide roads, assembly houses, and not less than 100 million airplanes. The crossroads were made of pearl, and there were sitting places made of diamond and coral.
Well, 100 million airplanes. That's a lot. And no need of air traffic control. This means that there is more than 100 million people in this city. A huge city. There's a lot of people in the city. That 17, please read.
Everlastingly beautiful and youthful women who were dressed with clean garments glittered in the city like fires with flames. They all possessed the quality of Shama.
So you can also read the purport.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a hint of the quality of the Shama woman. A woman whose body is very warm during the winter and cool during the summer, and who generally has very firm breast is called Shama.
Okay, 18, please.
The breezes blowing in the streets of the city bore the fragrance of the flowers falling from the hair of the woman of the demigods.
And 19.
Apsaras passed on the streets, which were covered with the white, fragrant smoke of aguru incense emanating from windows with golden filigree.
So they have the nice smell of incense instead of nasty traffic fumes we have in this world. Verse 20. Please read.
The city was shaded by canopies decorated with pearl, and the domes of the palaces had flags of pearl and gold. The city always resounded with the vibration of peacocks, pigeons, and bees, and above the city flew airplanes full of beautiful women who constantly chanted auspicious songs that were very pleasing to the ear.
Yes, that was. So we heard about the cities and the smell. Now we are hearing about the sounds. And then 20, 21.
The city was filled with the sounds of the mridangas, conches, kettle drums, flutes, and well-tuned stringed instruments of all playing in concert. There was constant dancing and the Gandhavas sang. The combined beauty of Indrapuri defeated beauty personified.
So these are the sounds in beautiful instruments that are always playing in concert, full of dancing. Text 22, please.
No one who was sin- no one who was sinful, envious, violent toward other living entities, cunning, falsely proud, lusty, or greedy could enter that city. The people who lived there were all devoid of these faults.
Yeah, and 23.
Bali Maharaj, who was the commander of numberless soldiers, gathered his soldiers outside this abode of Indra and attacked it from all directions. He sounded the conch shell given him by his spiritual master Shukracharya, thus creating a fearful situation for the women protected by Indra.
So they are enjoying, and suddenly the sound of Bali Maharaj conch comes and shatters the peaceful atmosphere. Verse 22 describes the qualities of those who cannot enter the heavenly planets. They are basically the qualities of passion and ignorance, and the demigods are in goodness. Of course, behind everything is lust, but there are different modes of nature. The heavenly planets are in the mode of goodness. When you have symptoms of the lower modes, then you cannot go to the heavenly planets. You stay in the lower planets or on the earth. That's described in Bhagavad Gita. The modes are mixed, but those in the heavenly planets are basically in goodness. So Bali Maharaj and the demons took shelter of the Brahmins who were in a mode of goodness. It was because of piety of the Brahmins. By their own strength they could not go to the heavenly planets. They are in the lower modes. They were demons, but on the strength of Bhrigu, the Brahmins, they could go. So Bhrigu is the origin of Sukracharya, who is the guru of the demons. So Bhrigu and Angira, they are sons of Brahma, descendants of Bhrigu. One of the sons of Bhrigu is Sukracharya. And Angira is the father of Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the guru of the demigods. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 4, 9, 10. It's by Dhruva Maharaj. My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. So since Brahmananda is already defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by the separating sort of time, temporary. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, it falls down in due course. So now we are talking about going to the heavenly planets. I want to have an analogy about going to the heavenly planets. Like an analogy Prabhupada uses many times is the Ferris wheel. It goes up and down. Like it's a big wheel with you can enter the wheel and go up, but it has to come down. That we find this Ferris wheel in amusement parks. That it's like flying. Another analogy is you fly with an airplane. You go up, but you have to come down before the fuel is finished. So people perform pious activities, sacrifices. They go up, and when their pious activities are finished, they come down. So we heard a description of the heavenly planets. Peace, music, dancing, enjoyment. All of a sudden the conch of Bali Maharaj sounded, it's all finished. Now, yes, Achapa.
Maharaj, so it appears to me that even from Bali, from the heavenly planets, you have to come to earthly planet to go up. It's not that from the heavenly planet you can go up to higher planets or to Vaikuntha. Is that true?
There are two paths. There is the Nivritti Marg and there is the Pravritti Marg. Nivritti Marg is the path of renunciation. Real renunciation is Krishna consciousness. We understand everything belongs to Krishna, we use it in Krishna's service, nothing is ours. So that's real renunciation, Rupa Goswami said. That we see the connection with everything with Krishna and use it in his service. So that's the Nivritti Marg, Krishna consciousness. But the Pravritti Marg is a gradual process by which one elevates one to higher and higher planets. But like the Tyagis, the Tapasvis, the Jnanis, they surpass the heavenly planets. And they go to Tapaloka, Janaloka, Marloka, and Brahmaloka, that Satyaloka. So theoretically, there is this pravritti marg, by which you can go up to higher and higher planets. And when you reach the highest planet, then at the end of Brahma's life, if one has become a devotee, one can go with Brahma to the spiritual world. But this is a nice concept, but mostly it doesn't work out. When one goes to the heavenly planets, one cannot renounce because the sense enjoyment is so deep. And one comes back. But yes, the tapasvis, they can go higher. But then it depends on their mentality. But that's described by our acharyas also in their commentaries. Even if they go to Satyaloka and wait at the end of Brahma's lifetime, where do they go? It depends on the realization. If they are jnanis who are after Brahman realization, they merge with Brahman. If they have become a devotee, then they go with Brahma to the spiritual world. That if they have just renounced that to feel the bliss of the self, but has no desire to merge with Brahman, they come back to the material world in the next creation. So that's the reality. That Prabhupada says this pravritti marg of a gradual elevation, it is a very risky path, because one goes to the heavenly planets, one comes back. After doing that a few times, then one may have the realization, why am I doing that? I'm going up, I'm coming back. And one becomes a tapasvi of a jnani and then goes higher. So that's the process. So better not to take that process. That bhakti yoga is the direct process.
Very nice, thank you, Maharaj.
Good. Then, so Indra thinks, what to do? Bali Maharaj is here. So he's consulting with Brihaspati, his spiritual master. So now 24. Can someone read 24?
Seeing Bali Maharaja's indefatigable endeavor and understanding his motive, King Indra, along with the other demigods, approached his spiritual master Brihaspati and spoke as follows.
Yes. And now we will hear what he says from text 25 till 28. Yes, please. Go.
My lord, our old enemy Bali Maharaj now has new enthusiasm, and he has obtained such astonishing power that we think that perhaps we cannot resist his prowess.
26.
No one anywhere can counteract this military arrangement of Bali's. It now appears that Bali is trying to drink up the entire universe with his mouth, lick up the 10 directions with his tongue, and raise fire in every direction with his eyes. Indeed, he has arisen like the annihilating fire known as Samvartaka.
Great. 27.
Kindly inform me what is the cause for Bali Maharaj's strength, endeavor, influence, and victory. How has he become so enthusiastic?
Yes. Now we will hear from Brihaspati.
Brihaspati,
Brihas,
I'm sorry.
please read, Matri.
Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigod, said, O Indra, I know the cause for your enemies becoming so powerful. The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu Muni, being pleased by Bali Maharaja, their disciple, endowed him with such extraordinary power.
So this is the reason why the demons could go to the heavenly planets. They got Brahma Tejas, empowered by the Brahmins. That I will read a part of the purport. So it says, in other words, Brihaspati informed Indra that Bali Maharaj's prowess was not his own, but that of his exalted guru Sukracharya. So it was not his own power, but the power of Sukracharya that propelled him up there. There are other examples of this in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata there is a story of someone who was sent to the heavenly a person was sent to the heavenly planets by some gurus. That his name was Trisanka. Trisanka was sent up, but Indra would send him back down, and he ended upside down. And his guru stopped him in the middle of the sky, and now he's still there. So he has now his own heaven there in the sky, provided by his Guru Maharaj, but he could not maintain it. So then here in the purport, Yasya Prasado, Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasado, Nagati Kotopi. That by the pleasure of the spiritual master, one can get extraordinary power, especially in spiritual advancement. That the blessing of the spiritual master are more powerful than one's personal endeavor for such advancement. It's like Kripa Siddhi. Prabhupada makes that comparison. Someone works hard for money, but another person he meets a wealthy person, and the wealthy person just gives him the money. So that is the blessing of the spiritual master. Nautam Das Thakur says, Go Mukha Padma Vakya Site Te Koriya Akya Agna Koriya Mani Asa. Especially for spiritual advancement, one should carry out a bona fide order of the spiritual master. By the parampara system, one can be endowed with original power coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Evam parampara paptam imam rachar sayo vidu. So this is our movement. Our movement is not to go to the heavenly planets, but to get the blessings of the spiritual master. And as we heard in the previous chapter, to help to re-establish the religious principles in this age of Kali. So that's our movement, that is our desire, that is our parampara. Whereas other religions, it seems that most of the people want to go to heaven and enjoy. But our idea is to go and serve Krishna here and anywhere. This from a purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, text 72. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati said that one can become perfectly successful in the mission of his life if he acts exactly according to the words he hears from the mouth of the spiritual master. The acceptance of the words of the spiritual master is called Shrauta Vakya, which indicate that the disciple must carry out the spiritual master's instructions without deviation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that the disciple must accept the words of his spiritual master as his life and soul. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here confirms this, saying that since the spiritual master ordered him only to chant the holy name of Krishna, he always chanted the Hare Krishna mantra according to his direction. Krishna Maitra Japa Sada e Mantra Sar. So that is our position also. We need to accept the instructions as our life and soul. If we don't do that, then we go after something as the heavenly planets, which is like a mirage in the desert. So it is now 6:30. We will have a pause now of 10 minutes, and at 6:40 we resume, and then we will go till the end of the chapter, and we will hear more about the advice given by Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Recording stopped.
So we will hear further from Bali Maharaj. Bali
Recording in
Maharaj.
progress.
We will hear further from Bali Maharaj, spiritual master Brihaspati. So this is Brihaspati speaking. Can someone read text 29, please?
Neither you nor your men can conquer the most powerful Bali. Indeed, no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can conquer him. For he is now equipped with the supreme spiritual power, that is Brahma Tejas. As no one can stand before Yamaraj, no one can now stand before Bali Maharaj.
So this is the power of the Brahmins. It's not Bali Maharaj's power. It's the Brahma Tejas from Sukracharya. So therefore, and then Brihaspati speaks text 30, advice of the Guru.
Therefore, waiting until the situation of your enemies is reversed, you should all leave these heavenly planets and go elsewhere, where you will not be seen.
So the advice of the Guru is get out of town. Because you cannot defeat Bali Maharaj. You cannot defeat him now. He's too powerful because of the benediction of Sukracharya. Nothing you can do. Yes, Acharya.
So a non-Vaishnava guru, Sukracharya, his blessings are so strong, Maharaj, that even, Brihaspati is saying only the Supreme Lord can can save you here.
Yeah, a non-Vaishnava guru, but it's true and not true, because also Sukracharya, he knows that the goal of the sacrifice is Vishnu. He knows that. Because we will see later that after Vamandev takes everything away from Bali Maharaj, then Vamandev will have a talk with Sukracharya. And he will ask what is the fault in Bali Maharaj. And he had to admit that there was no fault, because the purpose of sacrifice is to please Lord Vishnu. He knew that. But yes, he was attached to material life. This was not so an advanced devotee in that sense. Spiritually not advanced, but advanced in the Vedas and in goodness, and he was very powerful. Thank you. Important
Thank you, Maharaj.
point. And that. So text 31. Someone can read.
Bali Maharaj has now become extremely powerful because of the benedictions given him by the Brahmanas. But when he later insults the Brahmanas, he will be vanquished along with his friends and assistants.
Can you also read the purport, please? The entire purport.
Bali Maharaj and Indra were enemies. Therefore, when Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, predicted that Bali Maharaj would be vanquished when he insulted the Brahmanas, by whose grace he had become so powerful, Bali Maharaj's enemies were naturally anxious to know when that opportune moment would come. To pacify King Indra, Brihaspati assured him that the time would certainly come, for Brihaspati could see that in the future Bali Maharaj would defy the orders of Shukracharya in order to pacify Lord Vishnu, Vamanadeva. Of course, advancing Krishna consciousness, one can take all risks. To please Vamanadeva, Bali Maharaj risked defying the orders of his spiritual master, Shukracharya. Because of this, he would lose all his property. Yet because of devotional service to the Lord, he would get more than he expected, and in the future, in the 8th Manvantara, he would occupy the throne of Indra again.
Now, after hearing that, Indra is happy. In the future, he will get back heaven. But Srila Prabhupada writes, you must see the purpose of Bali defying the order of his spiritual master. It was to please Vishnu, Srila Prabhupada writes. So for that you can take all risks. There's a lecture of Srila Prabhupada on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 19. It's a verse on Vamandev. Bali rejected his spiritual master, and by doing that, he became a Maharaja. Because Bali Maharaj is one of the Maharajas. Generally, you cannot do that because the spiritual master is supposed to take responsibility, whole life for good, and we are supposed to be obedient. When you reject your spiritual master, you become a great sinner. But he rejected based on Shastric grounds, because he rejected for Vishnu worship. So such a spiritual master must be rejected. Anything favorable for Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and unfavorable should be rejected. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, insult of the Brahmins is mentioned here only in the social sense. Bali disrespect the Brahmins, by disrespecting the Brahmins was favorable to Vishnu Bhakti. And that's the same what Prabhupada was saying. And thus it became his great glory. It bestowed upon Svarga in the form of Sutal, and Vamandev became his doorkeeper, and in the next month van daar Bali will become Indra. So by surrendering to Vamandev, he got 3 benedictions. He got Sutal, the Lord became his doorkeeper, Jyotidar, and he will become Indra in the next Manvantar. So it was only a temporary loss. He wanted to become Indra, and Krishna fulfilled his desire. So we have to be careful with our desires. It may delay our going back to Godhead, because Krishna fulfills our desires. And if it's a material desire, we have to remain in the material world. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather Brahma. And Krishna gave him the universe, Lord Vishnu, Krishna Garbha, gave him the universe and said, now you have to do some little service for 33,000 years. You have to govern the universe. You wanted it, you get it. So you have to be careful with our desires. So Jiva Goswami says, transgressing the conventional guru's words by Bali would took the side of the Lord. 5.5.18 Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, 5.5.18. Gona sasyat, svajanana sasyat, vitana sasyat, janani nasasya, devam nasasya, napatis nasasya, namoksaya samupeta merityum. One who cannot deliver his dependence from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipful demigod. So that's the Shastric grounds on which he rejected the spiritual master, of one of the Shastric grounds. Still, according to conventional social norms, this has been called disrespect. Such allegiance to the demons is unsuitable for persons like Bali. So he easily gave up this misery, socially considered to be happiness. Hare Krishna. Jiva Goswami continues. By giving charity to the Lord, he got beyond any measure the supreme happiness by engaging in devotional service to the Lord. Then another reference from the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, 5.24.24. Alas, how pitiable is it for Indra, the king of heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brihaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. So, the Lord became his doorkeeper, completely under his control, and as a side effect, he got Sutal, which exceed the heavenly planets, and in the next Manvantar, he becomes Indra. Text 32. Can someone read 32?
Sukadeva Goswami continued, the demigods being thus advised by Brihaspati for their benefit immediately accepted his words. Assuming forms according to their desire, they left the heavenly kingdom and scattered without being observed by the demons. And the purport?
Yes, a small purport. You can read it.
Yes. Kamarupina indicates that the demigods, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets, can assume any form they desire. Thus it was not difficult at all for them to remain incognito before the eyes of the demons.
So I read in the Mahabharata somewhere that Indra took the form of a peacock. So the peacocks and Indra are friends. When the thunder and the rainy clouds come, then the peacocks are dancing. There is a relationship as Indra took their form. And Yamaraj took the form of a black crow. And because of this, the crows have a special benediction from Yamaraj. Unless someone kills them, they will not die. They have a very, very long life, the crows. Sukracharya is a devotee of Vishnu, but he went again against his own words. So he's a devotee of Vishnu, but he went against his own words. Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj are two Mahajans, pure devotees. The type of guru that Sukracharya was that he worshipped Vishnu, but as a formality, official worship. When it helps me, then I worship, but when it's going to harm me, then I'm against. When I lose my maintenance, then better not. Vishnu is going to take all your money, whether I want it or not. He was thinking Vishnu if he's going to get all the possessions of Bali Maharaj, who will maintain me? I will not have any maintenance. That was his worry of Sukracharya. That were the arguments of Sukracharya. So these Brahmins are Karmakandiya Brahmins, but they also got their power from Vishnu. Because without worshipping Vishnu, you won't get success in your Karmakanda. Karmakandis or Smarta Brahmins is another word. Vamandev asked Sukracharya what Bali did wrong. Vamandev asked Sukracharya, what did Bali Maharaj did wrong that you cursed him? What was his problem? So yes, if someone is chanting the holy name, there is no fault. Vishnu, he cannot cheat. But to his disciple he said, don't give it to Vishnu. So that was the fault of Sukracharya, that he said, don't give it to Vishnu. Because everything is meant to be sacrificed to Vishnu. And now, text 33. Can someone read?
When the demigods had disappeared, Bali Maharaj, the son of Virochan, entered the heavenly kingdom, and from there he brought the three worlds under his control.
Yes, 34 also.
The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu, being very pleased with their disciple, who had conquered the entire universe, now engaged him in performing 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices.
Yeah, that's the purport. We are not going to read it now. Just first the question is, why 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices? Why 100? Because that's the number you need to become Indra. So Bali got there, but to stay there, he need to become qualified. Can someone read the purport, please?
We have seen in the dispute between Maharaj Prithu and Indra that when Maharaj Prithu wanted to perform 100 Ashwamedha yajnas, Indra wanted to impede him, for it is because of such great sacrifices that Indra was made king of heaven. Here the Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu decided that although Maharaj Bali was situated on the throne of Indra, he would not be able to stay there unless he performed such sacrifices. Therefore, they advised Maharaj Bali to perform at least as many Ashwamedha yajnas as Indra. The word Ayajayam Jayan, indicates that all the Brahmanas induced Bali Maharaj to perform such sacrifices.
So we see here the mentality of the people long ago and nowadays. They wanted to satisfy the Brahmins to get power. Today I will bribe someone, and to this or that, and by hook or crook, I will become the president or whatever. This is the difference we can see. Even Bali Maharaj, he was born in a demoniac family, but he gets some pious credits. Now, read the last two verses. Please read.
Maharaj, I was wondering,
Yes.
in the previous, you see that when he goes to heaven, Indralok, then he's able to bring three worlds under his control. So it means that Indralok, that place is such that you have control from there about all the three planetary systems.
Yeah, it's a high. You have control over the higher planetary systems. That from there, but higher, there are higher planets. But in the fifth canto, we have seen that you have this Svargaloka, and then you have way up. It's so far away that yeah, like if you have the Earth here and 1 centimeter higher is the heavenly planets, then you have Maradloka, Janaloka, there. It's so far away, these higher planets, which are above Svargaloka. But yes, Bor Sva, that Bor are the earthly planets, Bhuvar are the planets between the sub-heavenly planets, which are also very opulent and where also demons are living. And then you have the heavenly planets, Sva, that so yes, but when you are in heaven, you are in goodness. You are not interested in conquering and controlling the demoniac walls. But yes, all the heavenly planetary systems you control from the seat of Indra.
I mean, to obtain control, he didn't have to fight with anybody. Like here, in this world, to control, you have to show off your army, you got to show off your economy and strength. Then only you can control. There, this is not the case, looks like.
But the demigods are already controlling the entire universe. Because Agni is fire. Everywhere there is fire, he controls. Everywhere there is heat, he controls. That Indra, the water, and Varuna, water, they are controlling already everything. But we are speaking not of ordinary demons here. These are the sons of Diti, these demons. And they have the power of demigods, but they are demons. But they are not controlling the universe as the demigods. But we see Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, he didn't need the demigods. He organized rain and all necessities himself. So powerful they were. But yes, they were powerful. But Vishnu was their enemy. That was their problem. And therefore, Tjaldi they degrade. But originally, they were the sons of Diti and were very powerful. But many Hiranyakashipu became powerful by his austerities. on his own power. But Bali Maharaj and the demons became powerful by following the orders of Sukracharya. That yes.
One more question comes up. You made a very nice point. The demigods are, are controlling the material energy. They're everywhere. Like rain, you control, air control, fire control, all that. Now, say for example, here what has happened, Bali Maharaj has taken control of Indra Loka, but that real Indra is actually hiding. So does it mean that control, that water control and other control that Indra had has been transferred over to Bali Maharaj because he is holding that position?
The answer is no, they are demons. That because demigod means they are governing the universe. Agni is everywhere where there is fire. And yes, his own heavenly body also at the same time. It's mystical. It's difficult to understand for us, these things. But they are empowered by the Supreme Lord. And these demons are not empowered by the Supreme Lord to do that. They didn't get the post. That is what we learned in the previous chapter, Structure of the Universe. There was discussed how the Lord, who appoints in every Manvantar, the sage, the 7 sages, Indra, and all the demigods. It's the Supreme Lord. So they were not appointed. They don't have that power. That's the difference. Yeah.
Very nice.
Good. Then, did we read 35? Can someone read it? Maybe?
When Bali Maharaj performed these sacrifices, he gained a great reputation in all directions throughout the 3 worlds. Thus he shone in his position like the brilliant moon in the sky.
Yeah. And 36.
Because of the favor of the Brahmanas, the great soul Bali Maharaj, thinking himself very satisfied, became very opulent and prosperous and began to enjoy the kingdom.
Yeah. Someone can read the purport also.
The Brahmanas are called Dvijadeva and Kshatriyas are generally called Naradeva. The word Deva actually refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmanas guide human society in becoming happy by satisfying Lord Vishnu. And according to their advice, the Kshatriyas, who are called Naradeva, keep law and order so that other people, namely the Vaishyas and Shudras, may properly follow regulated principles. In this way, people are gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 8th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Bali Maharaj Conquers the Heavenly Planets.
So the sages or persons who completely devoted themselves to spiritual upliftment of the entire society were born as Dvija Deva, the best among the twice born. This is from the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam 3.1.23. So the denizens of superior planets from Moon Planet and upwards were known as Devas. Both the Dvija Devas and the Devas always established temples of Lord Vishnu in his various forms, such as Garuda, Madhusudan, Nrsimha, Madhav, Narayan, Padmanabh, Parthasarathi, and many others. So why is it that he cannot stay there actually, that Bali Maharaj? Because he does not have the piety. He will do the 100 Asvamedia Jagyas, but when he is there, while he's there, he's putting the demons in key positions. So the Lord wants the pious people to be in charge of the universe, not the demons. But sometimes it happens that someone else is getting the management. Then the Lord comes as an incarnation. So Bali is not supposed to be Indra during this Manu. He was not appointed. It was Purandar. So he has to be taken out of by the incarnation of God. And that is what we will hear in the next chapters. And the prelude to that is the next chapter, executing the Payovrata process of worship. That's the prelude. And I will give you already a kind of introduction to the story. Mother Stuti Priya Radha, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I had a doubt. We hear that Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says it's according to our guna and karma. But here we see that is the birth so important that the surrender of Bali Maharaj is secondary, and he being born in a demon family is like more prominent and more, weight. It has more weight.
Yeah. We have to understand his position, Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj is the son of the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah, the son of Virochan, which was the son of Prahlad Maharaj. And he was educated as a devotee, not as a demon. But he was destined to be the leader of the demons. Who is the best leader of the demons? A pure devotee. But anyway, he had this association with these demons, and it's like Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is in our heart, and he wants to fulfill our desires according to what we deserve. That's how we get into this world. That we get the law of karma and so on, according to what we deserve. But Krishna himself is waiting until we turn our face to him. He does not intervene. You want to enjoy in the material world? You do. Good luck. So it does not intervene with our free will. Bali Maharaj did also not intervene with the free will of the demons. They want to enjoy, okay, I will help you to enjoy. And therefore, Sukracharya is there, the family priest, and is very much liked by the demons because he's promising them enjoyment and better enjoyment in the heavenly planets. So therefore, they follow this karma kanda. And because the demons, they want to enjoy, they don't want Krishna. So Bali Maharaj agreed to that. Let them enjoy, but in a pious way. By that they are put on the Parvati marg, a gradual process for elevation. That then hopefully they will give it up at a certain moment and come to bhakti. So that was the position of Bali Maharaj. It's not that he was bewildered by all these demons. but is aware this association is dangerous. Therefore, is praying to the Supreme Lord. We will see later that he will get that planet Sutal, and Bali Maharaj give him the benediction. If the demons does not obey to your order, I will destroy them. But yes, this is his service, to please Krishna, to bring these demons at least to piety. So yeah, that is what I could say. Does that help to understand that?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you so much.
Any other questions? Comments? Otherwise we will continue. I will now give you an introduction to chapter 16. Then you have already a feeling what we are going to discuss tomorrow. We will not get into the verses yet. But we will recap first. So those with bad qualities, they are barred from entering the heavenly planets. What is interesting about that? It is obviously difficult to get there. So the demons, they convert heaven into hell when they conquer a place. It is not possible for us to understand what the consciousness of the demigods is like. Because we tend to think, if we see Indra doing something, for example, if I would be doing that same act, my consciousness would be in a specific way similar to Indra's. But when we act, it is completely different. Indra is not impelled by the lower modes of material nature, not as we are impelled. Although it may appear that the demigods have qualities similar to ours, who are very fallen beings, inhabitants of Kali Yuga. They do not have the same qualities as us. We can say that it's not like my consciousness. To give a positive description of what their consciousness is very difficult. It is extremely subtle. How did the heavenly planets look like? Fruits, we had branches of trees overloaded with fruits, expert musicians, nice smelling fragrances, airplanes, everything auspicious. Subtle goodness, auspicious. But devotees are not interested in going there. And then there is higher, much higher, Janaloka, Tapaloka, still more subtle. And that is the key in understanding these places. The more subtle one's consciousness, the more one can enjoy on a subtle level. Although you can't prove it on one level, but the people who really like to sit next to the speakers during the heavy metal rock concerts, they get a certain type of pleasure out of that. Otherwise, they would not do that. On the other side, there are people who get pleasures from very fine symphonic orchestra, Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. The people who get pleasure from that, one gets pleasure of music and the other gets pleasure of music. One who is sitting next to the speaker at a rock concert, he will say that I'm enjoying as much as you, but actually it is not. Because gross compared to subtle, one has to study very hard even, and it helps to experience the subtleties in music. Heavy metal music is easy to enjoy, just place yourself into it. So gross and subtle. So the heavenly planets are subtle, and they are gross. They are gross even compared to Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. So the inhabitants of heaven, they are gross compared to Janaloka, Tapaloka, Jamaloka, Satyaloka. Every there is so subtle, but on the material level. And spiritual and transcendental is by definition beyond the subtle. And the transcendental plane is composed of a different substance altogether. There are no modes of material nature, no goodness, no passion, and no ignorance. Neither heavy metal nor Stravinsky, none of that all. But something most wonderful. It's Krishna's potency. It is Satchidananda Vigraha. So Bali had taken over the heavenly planets. Why did he do it? By the potency of his... He did do it by the potency of his spiritual master. Because to be situated on the subtle plane, it takes an incredible amount of piety. To do something gross requires impiety. You do not need very much. Just be impious and you can enjoy anything in the mode of ignorance. It is subtlety that takes piety. Bali did not have the requisite piety to be the king of heaven, but Indra had that. By the next Manvantar, Bali has earned his piety and he becomes Indra. So by the material pious blessings, by Sukracharya, Bali conquered the heavenly planets. He became so powerful that it wasn't by his own piety. It was by the piety of Sukracharya. So then what happened? So we are going to hear about the heavenly planets with Bali in charge. At the end of chapter 15, now the last verses we heard. After he conquered the heavenly planets by the power of Sukracharya, Bali Maharaj will perform 100 Ashvamedha Chakyas. So to gain entrance to heaven, you need piety. And to maintain your position in heaven, you still need more piety. Maintenance is much more difficult than creation. Creation is all fun, it's all passion. But to maintain it, oh goodness, it's boring. You have to clean it and make sure all pieces are oiled. We cannot experience any of the great creative ecstasies. Maintenance takes so much piety. To maintain his position, on the advice of Sukracharya, knowing that he did not have the piety of Indra, as he took over the heavenly planets by force, he began his Ashvamedha sacrifices to increase his piety. So if we want to become king of heaven, or go to heaven and enjoy the fragrances that we have heard about, to go to Goloka Vrindavan, we need to increase our love for Krishna to the degree that there is nothing else. So that there is nothing else than devotion in our consciousness. We all want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. Are we willing to pay the price? Or do we want to keep a corner in our consciousness for me? Do what we want to do instead of having Krishna in the center. Are we willing to pay the price? Are we willing to pay the price is something different. One must be very pure and very sincere. So we will hear tomorrow about Aditi, who is very aggrieved that our sons, our children, the demigods have been thrown out of heaven. And she will approach her husband for mercy. Thank you very much. So, let's stop here and we can continue tomorrow.
Recording stopped. Introduction was from your notes, or was it from some other place? What the introduction you were just giving to chapter 16?
Well, it's not an introduction to chapter 16. It's just some thoughts from Bhaktivedanta Prabhu about the situation in the heavenly planets. But yes, but now this leads up to the next chapter, the demigod sound being thrown out of heaven, and so Vamandev has to appear to correct it. How did this story start? Because that was the question of Maharaj Pariksit. How did Vamandev appear? And we will hear the prelude of that in chapter 16. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.
Very nice.
Jai Prabhupada.
Yes. Giving insights.
Jai.
Excellent.